Namaste. Hello everybody and welcome. Today let us discuss about the role of journalism in the development process. To best understand the role journalism plays in the development process, you must understand what development really is. Development is simply described as a process that facilitates growth, progress, a change for good either in a physical environment and economic or social situations. The United Nations once said, I quote, "Development is a multi-dimensional undertaking to achieve a higher quality of life for all people. Economic development, social development, and environmental protection are interdependent and mutually reinforcing components of sustainable development." I unquote. So, in all simplicity, we can say that development is to raise the level of the quality of lives of the people. So, what is the role of journalism in general? The key objective of a journalist is to gather information and write news. The news must be presented in a fair, unbiased, and balanced manner. News must be written without fear or favor. Journalists are responsible for investigating and reporting on issues and policies of the government. They are responsible to work on features and profiles. Journalism is a time-honored profession that has evolved over the years. A journalist must be an educated and knowledgeable person and one who can present the truth to millions of people who rely on news sources for various aspects. Journalism can be found on television, newspapers, magazines, radio, and the internet. With the latest trend being mobile or citizen journalism, journalism spans across just delivering the news. And what is this mobile or citizen journalism? In a commentary on diverse education website speaking about mobile journalism, Alyssa Richardson said, I quote, "I came to believe in mobile journalism at the height of the Arab Spring, as nations across the Middle East and North Africa erupted into a series of citizen-led protests in late 2010. I watched ordinary citizens depose leaders like Egypt's Hosni Mubarak." I unquote. To best define the term mobile journalism, Richardson shares the experience of citizen journalists who brought news to light in the controversial elections in Iran. Citizen journalists use their mobile cameras and send footage online. She also shared that when Gaddafi was captured from a drain hole, the only footage of the Libyan dictator's capture came from a mobile phone from a citizen journalist. Mobile journalism allows reporters or citizens to use their wearable devices such as a mobile camera and gather footage to highlight a situation or breaking news. This allows news to be shared sooner rather than later. Mobile journalism is fast and almost instant. Mobile journalism shares news long before reporters and cameramen arrive on the scene. While many people have rejected mobile journalism, the reality is that social media has turned everyone into a journalist today. At the simple click of a button with a smartphone, you can go live on any social media network and stream a happening, most times without the consent of the person or persons involved. While journalism has been a tried and trusted professional, let us not forget the scourge of fake news. What is this fake news about? Fake news is a plague a scourge that is ruining the credentials of verified media, Fake news is also known as junk news or hoax news and is written to lure readers away from the truth and cause widespread panic among the people. The intention of fake news is to spread false information about a certain cause or person. With the growth of digital and social media and the instant publication of any information, whether verified or unverified, fake news has become easier to spread. In the Guardians, what is fake news, how to spot it, and what you can do to stop it, L.A. Hunt says, I quote, "In its purest form, fake news is completely made up, manipulated to resemble credible journalism and attract maximum attention, and with it advertising revenue." Examples include transgender tampon now on the market, Pope Francis at White House, Claire Wardle of first draft news. In fake news, it is complicated, taught that in order to understand the current information ecosystem, we must understand these three elements: the different types of content that are being created and shared, the motivations of those who create this content, the ways this content is being disseminated. We cannot ignore fake news in an era where digital journalism is prevalent towards development journalism. Relationship between communication and development. As communication practitioners or communication students, we are all aware that communication is a two-way process. It is a process where the messages must flow both ways. Let us understand that communication must be understood for the messages to be effective. The term development communication can be divided into two parts. One is development, the other one is communication. Earlier we discussed both development and communication in detail. Development refers to the change in society for the better, while communication is used to share information so that development can be accelerated. So, when we talk about development communication, we are talking about how communication can be used to enhance development. We use communication to improve the lives of people. Communication or journalism is used in various different ways to share the messages of change that will enhance the lives of all who are in contact with it. We are all familiar with Everett M. Rogers, the renowned mass communication researcher. Rogers defined development communication as, I quote, "The uses to which communication is put in, order to further development." If we increase the levels of mass media among citizens, we can create a great opportunity for development. Rogers said that for the development of any society, the community must create an environment to change. Then, how can development journalism thrive? Development communication can only thrive if development communicators work hand in hand with the key government authorities and the people at large. Development journalism must be responsive, must seek constructive feedback, must be creative and innovative, must identify the key areas of development, and must be sustainable. Development communicators must share a clear message so that residents can fully understand and respond. Then what is the role of development communication or journalism? In a research paper, Payal Sen Chowdhury said that development communication has two primary roles. One is the transformation, the other one is socialization. The transformation role seeks social change and a higher quality of life, and the socializing roles seeks to maintain the established values of society. He said, I quote, "Development communication is used for transforming role by bringing in social change in a way that will bring a higher quality of life." Here communication acts as an instrument to achieve these objectives, and development communication tries to maintain the established values of the society by playing a socializing role. In playing these roles, development communication seeks to create an atmosphere for change as well as providing innovation through which society may change. Wilbur Schramm taught that the role of journalism in development can be separated into three parts: to inform, to instruct, and to participate. Let us understand this a little more in detail. What does it mean to inform? The role of journalism is to inform the people, to bring to the attention of the people, to create awareness among the people, to influence people for a better and or create an understanding of any hindrances in the development of projects in the community. What does it mean to instruct? The media plays an important role in instructing the community and citizens towards mass literacy. Let us look at the Swachh Bharat mission or the Clean India mission campaign, where the mass media instructed citizens to play a more active role in the campaign to help develop a cleaner India. Instruction can also be called education and or teaching. What does it mean to participate? In order for any government campaign to be successful, the participation of the people is imperative. Citizens must participate voluntarily, and their participation will aid the development process. Citizens can participate through debate and discussions when learning about new development issues. Then what are the tools of development journalism? What mediums of development journalism are used today? Let us discuss. New media. While the government interacts with the press, they also have their own social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Today, citizens do not need a television set or a radio set to listen to speeches from the government or on developmental issues. They can access the information via these social media channels without any hassles at the simple click of a button. Development news is easily available online and can be streamed easily. The better part of social media is that citizens can engage directly online with government on areas of concern. The newspapers. It is concerning to note that journalists often overlook reporting on developmental issues. The government over the years has taken several corrective measures to ensure that the media report on such issues. The government regularly associates with journalists through the Press Information Bureau. They organize press conferences, press tours, and create awareness among journalists on any developmental programs. Even at the state level, the state departments of information and public relations, they take care of the developmental programs. The government also buys advertising space into newspapers from time to time to ensure that people have access to development news. This news is communicated in all languages to accommodate all people. Radio. Since the history of development journalism, radio has played a significant role. Radio reaches a wide audience, especially in rural areas. National, local, and community radio reaches people with the right type of information. All India Radio has played a great role in development journalism. In 1956, the Radio Rural Forum covered 156 villages in a 30-minute program for 2 days a week. They covered issues that promoted rural development. The contribution of All India Radio for achieving green revolution and Operation Flood cannot be forgotten. Television. Television was introduced in India in 1959 as an experiment to broadcast social issues to create social responsibility. We can travel back in time and remember how in 1967 Krishi Darshan used television to effectively teach modern methods of agriculture to our farmers. Using satellite communication technologies, India reached out to millions of people teaching topics such as education, agriculture, family, national issues. With the recent onset of COVID-19, television has again started to play an important part in the lives of people by promoting education online. What development topics can journalists write about? Journalists working with government and citizens can write on an array of topics that help promote sustainability and economic freedom for the people. By giving information to the public, journalists can help people to hold the government accountable and hold them to their promises and policies. Studies have shown that citizens who are well informed on government policies are more likely to go out and vote. Journalists can write about social justice. One of the main topics that journalists can write about is social justice. I would like to teach a little bit about this. Social justice, a term used to describe the need for a fair and equal relationship between the people and the society they come from. This could include an equal distribution of wealth and privileges. In recent times, social justice meant the mobilization of a community to create a safe space for everyone, especially the marginalized and the downtrodden people. Social justice calls on the governments to take action against discrimination and other social ills that go against a certain group of people or ideals. Social justice is not a new concept. Social justice can be traced to the times of Socrates and Plato when they developed social contracts for social good. The United Nations once stated, I quote, "Social justice is an underlying principle for peaceful and prosperous coexistence within and among nations. We uphold the principles of social justice when we promote gender equality or the rights of indigenous people and the migrants. We advance social justice when we remove barriers that people face because of gender, age, race, ethnicity, religion, culture or disability." Unquote. Annually, the United Nations encourages everyone to observe World Day of Social Justice on the 20th February. This year the theme was a call for social justice in the digital economy. I will briefly share other developmental topics that journalists can write about. Journalists can write about social work. Social work is imperative for a community to remain sustainable. Social work helps preserve families and communities. Journalists can write about clean water and sanitization. Almost 160 million people do not have access to clean water or sanitization in India. Sharing information on development of sanitization and clean drinking water to residents will be well received as they are waiting for this necessity. Here are a few other development communication topics that journalists can write about. Can be on engineering, infrastructure, healthcare and medical, job and employment, education, helping the students for scholarships, trade and training, empowering the girl child, quite a lot of issues of that kind. We are still faced with several indifferences in society. Information is not freely available to everyone. The sad reality is that development journalism is not given enough importance in India. Perhaps there are journalists who want to write about these topics but are stopped or filed by editors and managers. We must also consider that despite the massive technological and communication revolution, we are still to see the development of the masses of the poor in our country. Media has become highly commercialized, and instead of journalists writing about developmental topics, we find that the government buys advertising space to help residents to understand about their projects. To see sustainable growth, we must spread the messages of development to the people. Government must ensure that messages reach dedicated journalists that are in turn willing to share the messages with the masses. Thank you very much.